Good afternoon, everybody. Um, Welcome to our webinar on driving student engagement through a unified mobile campus app. If I could just check, can everybody hear me? If you could just type in the chat box if you can, that would be great. Perfect. So for those of you who don't know me already, my name is Claire Riley. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager of Eiffel Corp. As a company, we are very excited about the partnership between Modo Labs and Eiffel Corp, as it will allow forward-thinking higher educational institutions across Africa to leverage proven methodologies for delivering the mobile experiences today's students have come to expect. Just a few housekeeping rules. Please keep your mics on mute. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation, but please feel free to jot them down in the chat box when you think of them. We will be recording the session today, so expect an email from us with a link to the recording. If we run out of time at the end of the session and we haven't got to answer all the questions, we will send that out via email as well. Today's webinar will be presented by Modo Labs, the developers of Modo Campus. With that being said, I will be handing over to today's presenter, who is Matt Wilmore, Director of Project Management from Modo Labs. Please take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Claire, very much, and welcome to everybody on the webinar. I'm glad to be able to spend some time with you today. We're going to start up our slides just momentarily here. Great, well, let's go ahead and get started. So like Claire said, my name is Matt Wilmore. I'm the Director of Product Management here at Modo Labs. I have been with Modo for about 2 years in this capacity, and I'm located in their headquarters out in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in the United States. Previous to Modo, I was at the University of Notre Dame for 7 years, the last 4 of those as the mobile program manager. So I was part of the team at Notre Dame that created the ND mobile app, which is also based on Modo Campus, and built it up to one of the more successful campus mobile apps available today. And enjoyed the platform so much, I decided to come over to Modo and join the product team. And I'm really excited to be here and talk with you today about Modo Campus and how it can have an impact at your institution. So just at the top, we think a lot about how we can use mobile to engage students and to make life better in higher education for our students, but also for staff, faculty, alumni, and even prospective students. And we know that in terms of technology, things change extremely rapidly, and it's always increasingly hard and difficult to reach students. However, we do know that all these students are carrying around these mobile devices and want access to information, and especially for students who are entering higher education in the past few years and certainly going forward, mobile is where they start. They have always grown up with mobile devices in their hands, and that's where they expect information to be. And so it makes perfect sense to have the presence for the university or the college be there as well, just from the start. And with Modo Campus, we can talk about this opportunity to put a lot of really great, relevant, timely, and personalized information for students, staff, faculty, and more in their hand where they're going to be already. We, as technology has progressed, we've seen a lot of developments in what people have done and how institutions have brought technology to the forefront for the students, but it's sometimes been in fits and starts, and it's not always a cohesive experience. One of the challenges that we have seen in the past is that a school will develop an app for a specific purpose, let's say athletics or ordering food or registering for classes, and they'll develop another app in another department to do something else. And before you know it, you have this entire screen full of apps, each of which do one thing. It's not a cohesive experience, and it doesn't present a great experience for the user. And so there is an opportunity to have a unique unified, cohesive experience for the user that really pulls them in and objectively makes their experience as a student better, as opposed to not having this platform. We do know that in South Africa alone, 70% of the population has access to mobile, and so this is a built-in user base that is ready and hungry and eager to have a solution like this. And so what we're really trying to do is just make all these resources available to your users. And they don't necessarily have to be resources that are unique to a mobile experience. And in a lot of cases, it's just surfacing things that already exist that are scattered throughout the web into a single connected, cohesive experience, a unified experience for those users to just make things easier so they can tap, understand, and go. Looking at these screens you see here are great examples of how some of our customers are using the product today. You see Rosebank College here on the left and their home screen, which looks fantastic, very engaging and very easy to get around. Berkeley College in California and their home screen there. Same with Bucknell, who's using it in the middle screen for their new student orientation when the fall semester begins every year. RISD, which is the Rhode Island School of Design, located close to us here in Massachusetts, using their student artwork as part of the inspiration for how the app is designed and used. And so students not only have a connection to the app, they help create it. And then the University of Central Florida on the right, which shows just all the different options you have as a student and real-time information. We'll talk more about them as we go forward. And so I've talked about this idea of engaging student experiences, and this is something that is paramount importance. It cannot be something where you just put an app up, you put it in the store, you put up a flyer, and you're done. It has to be something that really pulls the users in, not only for the first time, but the second and the 10th and the 100th time. That is what really makes an impact on the student, something that they prefer to go back to because it's just better. And so we have great examples here of how they can use that. On the left here, you have shoestring strategies, which is something that Harvard students built themselves. And this is an idea that, life at college, at least in the United States, is really expensive often. And how do you get by as a college student without a lot of money? So they put this shoestring strategies together, sort of living on a shoestring, and things that you can do that are really engaging and helpful to your life personally and as a student that don't really cost much or any money at all. Another example here, this Operation Worldwide Joyride is an app that we helped put together with Instructure for the InstructureCon conference. And this is sort of taking the idea of a secret mission that we wanted people to be part of, people who are attending InstructureCon for the Canvas conference. Ideathon in the middle is an example of something that we have built internally. We have a series of competitions in which we help universities and colleges have their own Modo hackathon. So students come together with ideas for how they can make the campus and their lives as students better. And we help support a platform in which they can actually build that solution in the Modo platform over the course of a day. Going forward, this orientation here is a great example of how some of our campuses are using Modo Campus for new student orientation. This is actually an NSO starter kit that we distribute as part of the product. So if you have Modo Campus as your solution, you can have this NSO starter kit just as part of the package and make it very easy to add new student orientation content or even related things like graduation into your app right away. And then you see an example here on the right from Louisiana State University here in the States using Uber. So we offer a direct integration with Uber, so it's very easy to deep link from our platform into the Uber app with pre-specified starting point, endpoint, and even discounts. I know Uber is very popular in South Africa as well. And one of the challenges that Uber had and that LSU had was that it's very hard to get around the campus sometimes. It's very complicated. Uber drivers were having trouble finding their riders and charging them fees for not showing up, when in fact they were just not in the right place. So with LSU, they put these links in their app with pre-designated places that both Uber knew where they were and the students knew. So they're able to set that up and make the success rate for Uber use on campus much, much higher. And when you look at this, not a lot of this information is really unique. It doesn't always just exist in the app, but we're using a platform like Modo Campus to coalesce and bring all that information together into a single platform that students can really well understand, get to information very quickly, and go about their day. Another example of how a platform like this might be helpful to an institution is for events. And we have, again, seen something where a university or college may have an app for their campus, but they use a different platform entirely for something like new student orientation or special events. And this is a great opportunity to get new people into your app and get people back into the app. If you give them more and more compelling content, they see the app as the place to be, they're more likely to come back and re-engage with the institution through the app. And so you see some examples here, the InstructureCon 0017, this is their 2017 conference, and so this is sort of the secret agent theme all through the platform, but it was really exciting and engaging and unique, and people felt like they were part of the event. The next one is orientation or new student orientation for Florida State University. They chose to do their own template, but it doesn't require any code. They're able to do this and build this very quickly and provide a really compelling experience for their students as well as parents for new student orientation. Moving forward, this is Kansas State University and their Career Center. So this is, excuse me, a special piece of content they have in their app throughout the year. So students, as they prepare to graduate, need to know information about where to find a good career or a job. And of course, most colleges and universities have these career centers available to help their students. But why not surface some of that information into the app so people can quickly open the app, find out where to go, and get things done? So this is a great example of that. And the last one here is Regis College, which is actually local in Massachusetts here, had a special Hollow Week in 2017 and used the platform to create this experience in the app and provide another compelling reason for users to come back into the app. And so this is not only used to provide a central place for that information, but also elevate that experience overall and provide a more exciting, more engaging experience as opposed to not having the app there. So I've been talking about Modo Campus, and I just want to step back for a minute and talk about just what Modo Campus is. Modo started at MIT here in Cambridge by the chief MIT mobile platform architect at MIT, and we commercialized the platform about 10 or 11 years ago. And our mission is to transform that digital campus, your digital campus, through engagement and communication. We want to really create these must-have experiences for students, not things that they use once and that was nice and they delete it. We want things that people really want to come back to. And like I said earlier, the experience as a student is objectively better because of the app. It is a no-code mobile app platform. We have hundreds of institutions around the world, including in South Africa, and have used each experience to learn more about how students, staff, and the institution work together and try to make a better platform that's easier and more powerful to make those engaging experiences happen. One of the realities of having a platform like this is that there is no end to the amount of systems and legacy platforms that exist, and there's a deep need to integrate and work with those. And the reality is that your users really don't know and often don't care what those platforms are. All they want is that cohesive experience in their hand. And so we provide that through all the integrations that we have done and make it very easy to build up that experience that you want for your users. So you see on the left just a sampling of the partners that we work with to integrate their sources, things like transit, LMS, surveys, emergency notifications, all types of data sources, maps. You see Uber there, Mist and Radius, things for proximity notifications and indoor wayfinding. There's a huge swath of types of use cases for which our customers have used us to deliver that experience for users. And then you can see how we have different modules and different components out of the box that you can use, things like social and facilities and emergency, that you can build up and deliver the experience that really matters to your users. We know that every experience is unique and different. And so this provides an opportunity for you to really step back, look at what's really important to your users and build that specific experience instead of having some cookie cutter experience that may or may not really match your users' needs. And then, of course, it's important for us that we engage the user, or that you're able to engage the user on the device they're on. So it's not enough to have the native apps, of course. Native iOS and Android apps are a big part of this, but also HTML for mobile web and desktop web. We have an increasing number of customers who see value in having a unified desktop portal as well, using the same platform. And so we'll show an example of this a little bit later with Florida State, but the idea that you might have a desktop portal that's part of your experience, and it doesn't have to be mobile only, especially for users who may not be comfortable using a mobile device, or customers who spend most of their day at their desk. We want to engage them on the platform that's most comfortable for them at that moment. So the idea here is that you can create these experiences using a huge variety of sources and functionality, and they really span multiple categories, from things like adoption, things like directory and transit, calendar, things that people would use and expect from a campus mobile app. Going forward, things like communication and information, beacons to do proximity notifications, indoor and outdoor wayfinding, messaging and alerts, resource monitoring, like is an available washing machine? Is there an available computer in the lab that I can use? Again, it's about information that people can use to make decisions. If they can glance at the app, find out what to do, and then go do it, they're going to be in a great place. Moving forward into engagement and enablement, things like doing events and agendas in your app, which you absolutely can do, new student orientation, single sign-on through different sources, and getting help through the help desk. And then scaling that app up, doing things like parking information, analytics, multi-site. So if you have multiple campuses across the region, you can have different locations, and the app is actually smart enough to know where you are and adjust that experience accordingly. So the idea here is that not only can you do all these things, but you also don't have to do them all at once. You can choose an initial set of features that really impacts the student experience, and then build that iteratively over time. And you can make those changes live as quickly or as, at your own schedule. So you're not bound to say, I have to do everything at once. You can build up over time, and as you get feedback from your user audience. We believe personalization and customization are incredibly important, and so we provide a lot of opportunities for you to deliver that to your users. You see on the left here is the University of Central Florida. They make use of something called opt-in channels, which is part of our Communicate product, and this allows you to create channels of content that people can opt into because it's important to them. We typically recommend that customers do not send out mass notifications for things that may only interest a subset of the population, and opt-in channels really allow us to dial that in and have something like a volunteering club or a running club that's very specific to a group of people. People who aren't interested may not opt in, but those who do really want to get that information. And so at the end of the day, we want all of the notifications that a user gets to be relevant to them specifically. And so UCF has a great example of how they surface that information in the app and allow people to discover those channels. You can see here Bucknell in the second phone, they have different personas for different experiences. So this is something that people do when they first open the app, is that they self-identify with how they are associated with the university or the college. So for those who are attending NSO, there's a specific persona just for them, as opposed to people who are parents or families, guests on campus. If I'm visiting somebody at Bucknell, I may choose that campus guest. So information is surfaced like, where as a visitor can I park? Whereas somebody who is a student may not care about that so much. And so we can change that content accordingly. Louisiana State, again, here is an example of how you choose your persona, using a beautiful publisher screen to make that experience really engaging from the start. And then you see an example here of one of our enterprise customers. We do have, of course, a nice presence on the enterprise side as well. And this is one of our customers, Capital One, which is a financial company. And they have locations all over the United States, and they use our platform with different locations so that if you move between locations, as a lot of their employees do, the app can prompt you to automatically update your location and see information that's really relevant to the specific location you're at that moment. And then, like I said before, communications that really matter. We'll talk about Communicate in just a moment here, but I wanted to just touch on these quickly. You can see here, University of Central Florida uses something called opt-in, or not opt-in, they use opt-in, but in-app banner notifications at the top that show you timely things as people open the app that they should be able to do. You can see that they're using In that second screen, this is also University of Central Florida using a survey in the app. They're actually using Qualtrics in this case, but using a survey in the app to learn more about the user and what their preference is, so you can tailor the app and tailor other services like parking. It would be incredibly difficult for the parking department to get a large sample response without using the app. If they're sending out emails, they're stopping people on the street, it's just going to take so much time and effort to make that happen. But using the app, it's actually very quick and easy and costs nothing at all for them to do that. The third example here is a personal notification around being contacted. So of course, we support the idea that you can contact individual people based on attributes, and you can do this in real time. So if somebody has a hold on their account or needs to see their advisor, you can send a message to them personally, as opposed to everybody should contact their advisor all at once. And then you can follow that up with an example that you see on the last screen, where there's more information for me, and not only information, but calls to action. So I can actually know, all right, I need to call my advisor. What do I do? And here's a link to actually know what to do. We talked about communications before, and this is the product that powers that. So Modo Communicate allows you to create messages in a variety of different ways. So public messages go to the entire audience, the entire app, or specific personas within the app, but doesn't require anybody to be logged in. Personal messages are designed for individual users. So as they log into the app, we associate their devices with the user. And so you can send either to individual people or people who match a specific attribute in the directory that you maintain with us. So for example, if you needed to send a message to all the people who are sophomores in the biology department, you could absolutely do that. And then when we send that message out, we send it based on the current population of that directory. So you could schedule that message weeks ahead of time, but if the population of that group changes in the meantime, we'll send it to the right group when we send it. And then opt-in channels we talked about a little bit, where you can create these more focus groups, and those groups can actually be focused on specific populations too, or specific personas, and people can opt into those. And we support the ability to send this over a push, an in-app banner notification, or an email, or any combination of those. And then of course, in the app, as well as soon on the home screen, you'll see that under message count, so people will know to go back into the app and that there's something new to see. So the last thing I'll say for Communicate is that we do see a huge app adoption increase by using those push notifications, upwards of 151%. And we've also seen research in that the average time to open a push notification is about 15 minutes. The average time to open an email is over 6 hours. So while email is still valuable, it's also really valuable to use things like push notifications to get that engagement right away and much, much sooner. Really quickly on X module, this is a feature that we have in our product that allows you to design screen experiences based on web services. So you likely have existing web services out there, and this allows you to surface those web services to drive the individualized experience for the user based on things like time of day, based on things like who the user is and what holds they may have on their account and what affiliation. We even include things like the geolocation of the device. So you can make it extremely specific for that individual response. And this is an example of Florida State using their desktop. This is their desktop portal. They have a mobile app on the exact same platform. But if you access it as a desktop user, you get a very different experience, because on desktop, you're doing different things. And then just a little bit on X module. You'd use that if you're using web services today. You get these really hyper-personalized experiences. And the nice thing is that you get to use your student developers, especially those that may have approached you that may have experience with web services. You can certainly put them to work on this. And although you tell us sort of the layout and the content, we take care of the theming, the analytics, the accessibility, and the deep links to other content, all for free. So you worry about the content, and we'll worry about the rest. And the last thing here is Modo Analyze. This is our analytics tool, because it's, of course, important to know what you're building and that it's being used or what's not being used. So this allows you to see in real time how your app is being used and who is using that, and get a deep understanding of how the app is being utilized. And of course, things like the weekly emails that we will send out to you so that you can see at a glance what's happening with your application. So that concludes my part, and I wanted to, again, thank you for your time, and leave the rest of the time today for any questions or feedback you might have.
Thank you so much, Matt. A very interesting presentation. Very excited for what Modo Campus can do for universities in Africa. I'm going to open the floor up to questions. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat box and I will read them out to the Modo team. Just while we're waiting for some questions. Oh, there we go. Here's a question. Are there any known links, integrations to the ITS student system used in South Africa?
This is Matt. That's a great question. I will say I don't have enough information about that system to say. It's certainly not. It's certainly possible that we have an integration, or we could build one, or work with you to do that. I'll say off the top of my head, I don't have enough information to answer that. But it's absolutely something that is feasible.
Just to give some more information about ITS, it's built on Oracle, and I did see Oracle in your list of different solutions. So I'm sure it should be possible.
I would agree, and we partly list out Oracle because, as you know, they have a presence in almost all of the SISs out there. So we, of course, integrate with platforms like Banner and PeopleSoft. And I would love to learn more about ITS and how that might work. But I absolutely believe we would have a way to address that. I'd also love to learn more about, when you talk about an integration with ITS, what you would like the students to be able to do, or the users to be able to do with that integration.
Johan, would you like to just click on your microphone and perhaps answer?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what I would like to know is things that we traditionally put in the student portal, for instance, for when they have their student marks available and to check their finance status and all that type of administrative things. That's the one use of that that I'm interested in.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And we've certainly had a number of customers who have surfaced information like grades or marks, finances, holds, all types of things that might live in the student information system into their Modo app. And there's a variety of different ways you can do that. We have some customers who are very adept at Oracle and will use something like X module to build their own web services or extend an existing web service, especially if you surface something through the portal. You may already have an API or a web service in place that you could just add an endpoint for X module. Alternatively, we do have partners like a company called N2N that does nothing but integrations like these and may be well versed in ITS specifically and could facilitate it with partnership with Modo. But absolutely, that's something that we could make happen.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I do. So I just wanted to know, so currently there's, a one-way communication capability on Modo where we can send push notifications. Is there plans in terms of that becoming, sort of a two-way capability?
That's a great question. I do have a clarifying question, and that is, are you looking for that two-way communication to be with somebody who is another person who's sitting on the other end of that, or something like an automated chat agent?
So both.
Okay. So we don't have, excuse me, with Modo Communicate, we don't have a direct integration or product to facilitate the two-way discussion. However, we have had a number of customers use existing platforms out there to facilitate that. I know some schools use a tool called Bomgar, which is also used for IT help desk, and they'll embed an HTML view for that chat, and that works actually extremely well. We've also had some customers use either Xmodule or a web view to use a chat agent like Dialogflow from Google and surface that in their app. Cal State Northridge out in California has actually done that themselves, and they have a ride request program where people who are on campus and don't feel safe at night can request an escort to escort them across the campus. And they use a combination of, this is all done in Xmodule, but they do a combination of a live map showing where their escort is and on their way, as well as a live chat that's using either Dialogflow with an agent or a live person who's at the security office to facilitate that communication. But they're doing that, again, there's a couple ways you could do that, either through a web view or through Xmodule, integrating with a chat platform like Dialogflow.
Okay, great. No, that really helps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. I have a question with regards to building the app for, say, for example, for my institution. How easy is it? So, I mean, what sort of skill level does one need? Do you need to have somebody that's dedicated to building it? Yeah.
A great question. So one of the beautiful things about Modo Campus is that you do not need to be a developer at all or even a designer to be able to create a great app. What really matters is that you understand the needs of the users, and then using our platform, you can very easily create modules, create screens, and deploy everything to the app without any code, without technical training at all. Now, for those who desire, we do offer both recorded and live training for customers. We have an application called iModo, which is a Modo application, of course, that's available, and all customers are able to log into that and view unlimited recorded training, as well as schedule on-demand training with our training coordinator. In addition, there is an extensive knowledge base and support articles out there that help out, and then we have a support team that is available around the clock to answer questions and help with anything that you might need help on. But no, don't need to be a designer, don't need to be a developer, just need to have a great understanding of what your students need, and then we can help you with the rest.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any more questions from anybody else? Okay, here we go. Johan asks if how is your pricing structured? Is there a cost for developing and then for hosting?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, please?
She says, how is your pricing structured? Is there a cost for developing and then for hosting?
So the way that our pricing structure works is that we charge for basically the base product itself. That includes the hosting as well as the native applications and the ability to create content. There are some premium features like Xmodule that carry a separate cost, but our intention is that when you purchase a license for the product, you're able to use it right out of the gate and not have to pay for additional things immediately. But there are some, like I said, additional features that you can upgrade to.
Does that answer your question, Johan? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? So if there aren't any more questions, or if you feel that you think of questions afterwards, please feel free to email myself at claire@eifelcorp.co.za or Matt Wilmore at Modo Labs, and we will be happy to answer any of your questions. We will be sending out this recording to everybody, so you have access to it. And yes, we look forward to hearing from you. If you're interested, please reach out to us. Thank you to Matt, to Chris and the Modo Lads team, Michelle, Moggs, for all your hard work in putting this webinar together. We appreciate it. And thank you to everybody for joining and for taking time to listen to us. And yeah, have a lovely evening.
Great, thank you as well. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Matt. All right. Goodbye, everybody.